very Marshall-y. And on my record, where I normally would have picked a vintage Marshall, I used this amp. And the Super Dallas is more like a high watt, or it's kind of between like an old high watt and a great blackface super reverb. So let me plug into that amp. And it has more low end and not as much gain as the Anniversary. And this may be 100, I don't know, but you'll hear this. So I've got that turned, the channel volume turned up louder. And that now, when I hear that, I'm like, damn, that sounds good too, you know? I mean, like, I don't know which one's better. Got more lows and a little more on the high end, a little less focused in the mid-range. And this is an incredibly versatile amp. I use this for everything from, I have a song on my new CD called Skimming the Surface, and the melody line is, the melody line and the rhythm track are both played on this amp. And when you hear it, they're like totally night and day. And again, one of them, it's this guitar, one of them is the bridge pickup, in humbucking, and the rhythm track is in the middle position in single coil, and you hear the versatility of not only the guitar but of the amp. And that song is, if you want to know what this amp can do, the range, that song will really give you the full gamut. And I think on the solo on that song, I played the HXDA mod on the Anniversary. So there's 3 tracks on there that covers all those tracks. Okay. Now again, if you know, on this tone, it's pretty crunchy. Turn it down to 7. That actually does the clean sounds even nicer than the Anniversary. You know, I mean. Go to single coil, turn it all the way up, go to the middle position, and it seems like it's a little dark, so I can dial back the bass pickup a little bit. And that's a big thing about this guitar, is that having the 2 volume controls that I missed all the years I played PRS, is you can do that. When in the middle position, you can really sculpt that in-between sound to either take off some of the top end or take off some of the low end, or sometimes what I'll do is, in humbucking mode, I'll have it in the middle position and I'll turn the treble pickup all the way up, and I'll take the bass pickup and just turn it down a notch. Still kind of, it doesn't really sound like that in-between thing, which can be a little bit phasey or jangly, which is great for what it is. But what that allows me to do is, if I want to have, if I want to take a solo and I don't want it to be the full-on bridge pickup, I've got that. And then when I switch to the bridge pickup, you hear the difference? It's subtle, but it makes a big difference to me. So there's like, 100 different sounds between this guitar and these amplifiers. Really, when you utilize them that way, it's just every tone in the world is in there. And it kind of covers my whole rap, I guess, on this. So yeah, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
On the Dallas amp now, what do you have it set? The master all the way up?
Yeah, master's all the way up, and the channel volume is on about 4.5 or 5, like straight up almost. And if I turn it down to 3 or 4, it'll really get clean.
The lower channel line, you can put the bright switch on.
what's not to like, you know? It doesn't get, you know, for a clean tone, you don't really get much better than that. And again, you know, utilizing the single coil sounds, you know, that was the single coil. But even there, with the guitar turned all the way up, it's beautiful. And then if I play harder, it will crunch. It's just that touch sensitivity that I really thrive on. And it allows me to be a better player. And I think what a lot of players, they talk to me about tone and, you know, how do you get sounds. When we talk about tone is in our hands, a lot of that, you know, I discovered through playing great vintage amplifiers. The ability to manipulate the sound, to make it overdrive more, make it cleaner, make it sustain more, make the note have a bloom to it or a different quality, like the same note on the same fret with a different finger. That all came about through playing amplifiers that really respond to your touch. And it has a lot to do, I think, that I talk to people that come up to me and ask me about things like that. I think that this approach will help you develop more your individual style and the ability to make the sounds you hear in your head, if that makes any sense. Yes?
What's the name of the album?
The album is called Way Down Deep, and it's like The Price is Right. Bev has got it over here. The United States Postal Service lost them going to CD Baby the first week that it was released. Way to go, huh? But she's got it over here. It's a whopping $10. And I'll be happy to answer any more questions if you have anybody. Yes?
Talk about that 30 you mentioned earlier.
The 30 that I mentioned earlier, Doug Sewell built me a custom shop 30. And that is one great thing that they're doing here at PRS is you can have an amp built like a private stock guitar. And I don't know that much about it, but it has a tube rectifier, unlike the regular 30, has a little more bottom end, and the top end is smoother, and it has a 3-position bright switch on it. So in the middle, it's like this EQ, but you can even dial back more top if you want, and then add it in if you needed to. It's got a top cut control. This particular one does have a master volume because of the master volume design, which we found has been actually the first useful master volume I've found. So, in a nutshell, that kind of covers that one. Yeah?
Dave, as opposed to effects loops, I don't know if those amps have them. What are you doing to delay? Are you running them up front or?
Yeah, everything goes into the front of the amp. Everything goes into the front of the amp, and I've been making records for 20 years. And not since like 1985 have I ever seen a top-level studio player use an effects loop, ever. They run their effects straight into the amp. And again, if you're getting like your super high gain tones from a pedal that's in front of the delay, it sounds like what you would get from an effects loop. But again, you retain the low-end articulation of a great single-channel amp. So. Sometimes when you run a delay into a super high gain amp, it sounds kind of not great. The delays get mushy and it gets, but anything up to super high gain, the delay in front of the amp sounds great. But no effects loop, and I've never seen anybody use an effects loop since, like I said, 85 when it was like Bradshaw rigs. And then the engineers, you know, there'd be so much gear in there, the engineers couldn't get a drum sound. A room sound on the drums because there's, you know, the refrigerators are stacked up, and you know, and the stereo thing, it's like what we call stereo guitar now, we call it big mono, because there's just no, you know, if you're making your own record, you can do stereo, but nowadays, you know, with this, you know, you got a keyboard player, you want to stack a couple different guitar parts, you put a big stereo guitar track in there, there's no room for anything else. So I never use big mono. I never play stereo. I mean, occasionally, maybe once in a while, I mean, like in a Blue Moon. And I love that effect, but like live, unless you're running a stereo PA, you're not getting that effect either. So, but you can still go stereo like this, no problem. You know, stereo outs, yeah.
Not an amp question, it's actually not really a question, more of a compliment. It's about the guitar.
Well, this is the first time I've ever played this one. It came out of the box in the back. I didn't bring a guitar with me. And one of the most amazing things about PRS, and that I think that puts them heads and shoulders above Gibson or Fender, and I'll say that, okay, not other manufacturers, but the other big, two, is the fit and finish and consistency of the guitars is off the shelf. And I have been politely, diligently, keeping my eye on the thing, and when, every now and then they try to slip a little something by me, changing it because it's easier to do, and I just call Paul, and he takes care of it, So again, that's what I can walk in here. I've never played this one before. The neck shape is perfect. The setup is perfect. Off the wall. I mean, I've never anytime I go to a clinic, unless it's in Austin, I never bring a guitar. I just play any of them that are hanging on the wall, and it's home base.
What I've told people is like all the little tweaks that you made, the changes that you made from like the old McCartney model.
Yeah.
It's greater than the sum of the parts.
Thanks. I agree. Well, that was the whole idea. And the McCarty is something that, that myself and Bonnie Lloyd, who used to be the artist relations rep here, we pushed that guitar through in 1992 as a special order for me. That later became the model. And it did a lot of wonderful things that I was missing in PRS guitars. But this guitar takes my, after playing that guitar for 15 years, all the things that I made mental notes of that I would wish were different, and not the least of which, a big part of which is the pickups. And so yeah, it really is bigger than the sum of its parts. It's not like if you just throw these pickups in a McCarty, you're going to have this guitar. There are a lot of things that add up to what, for me, make a big difference. Thanks. I think I'm out of time. Technically, I don't know if somebody else has to get up here, but I'll come over here and if anybody wants me to. Oh, I'm supposed to say that me and Davey Knowles are playing at 3:15 and they've moved it to the clinic stage, is that correct? Okay, because they got too much going on in here, so at 3:15 we're playing on the clinic stage. I have no idea what we're going to play, but I do know we'll have fun. Thanks.